better knowledge of politics?
Yes, I think so. Knowledge is power. How can you vote if you don't know what you're voting for? So I think it's up to the schools to make sure that you are taught properly what the various levels of local authorities and government does, so that you can make a well-defined choice to exercise your vote. I've heard from you two that there isn't a great deal of teaching about the local authorities, and most of the voting that you're going to do will be for the local authority in whose area you live, and I think you ought to be taught about what it is local authorities do.
Also, the citizenship what I remember doing was quite vague, and things were only touched on. So maybe if it was made compulsory from year 7, maybe not as regularly, because I just remember doing it in year 10. I don't know if it's like that every school, but I think the younger you start becoming aware of politics, the more interested you are.
Absolutely, I have thought that for a number of years now. The logic of giving it to 21s was the original idea. Bringing that down to 18 brought a whole lot more people into the decision-making process, and the theory then being that at 18 you're old enough to go out and fight in Afghanistan for your country. How on earth can they stop you having the vote? And that brought it down. Now at 16 you can join the services. Why should people at 16 logically not have the vote for the same reason that we gave it to people of 18? There is a proviso though. There isn't much point in having the vote if you're not going to exercise it, and you're not going to be able to exercise it properly unless you are trained and taught what local authorities and what national government is doing and what it's all about. You need to be trained before you can vote, unfortunately.
In favour of votes at 16. I believe it's really important that we get involved in in the democratic system from a young age. And I think at 16, some people argue that you're too young, but I think if you can get married with parental consent and you can have a sexual relationship with someone, then I think you should have the right to choose who you want.
On balance, I think I'd have to say yes, because many of the responsibilities of adulthood are given to 16-year-olds. Voting is a responsibility of adulthood, and so it'd be quite appropriate for them to have that responsibility and that right as well as all the other ones.
Yes, I think 16-year-olds should be allowed to have the vote. At 16, I myself take a big interest in politics, and I'm really upset that I haven't got a choice in the way the country is run. I also think that allowing 16-year-olds to vote helps them mature and forces them to start taking things more seriously.
I think that 16-year-olds should get the vote because it will bridge the gap between teenagers and adults. There's been a lot of negative stereotyping in the media recently about teenagers, and it would make them feel more involved with our country.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.